Hey everybody, Mac here for OCR Kings, and we have a very special report from our friend Tom, who was at it again. The man is a machine, this time going international, taking on Tough Mudder and Spartan in a combination weekend in the UK. Definitely check out Tom on Instagram. We will provide links to his profile below, as will we provide links to this unabridged sit rep on our blog. If you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. It definitely helps to grow the channel and is greatly appreciated. So, without further ado, this is what Tom has to say about, I guess it was Tough Mudder Southwest and the Southwest Spartan event for 2024. It's kind of cool that they did both in the same weekend and that Tom was able to get out there and do them. So, as an overview, he writes that the UK Southwest Race Weekend is held at Badminton Estates, north of Bristol, England. The race is combined with a Saturday Tough Mudder race, the 10 miler and 4 miler, and the Spartan Beast and Sprint on Sunday. Spartan Sprint is part of the UK National Championship Series. As far as logistics, Tom writes that traveling to Europe for a race may seem excessive, but it's always about the logistics and the cost involved. For him, he booked well in advance, and he secured a reasonable rate at a Holiday Inn Express in Filton. Very good. It was 20 minutes away from the venue. Additionally, he booked his airfare early, and he got a price cheaper than most flights from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States. Very, very cool. Something really, really interesting. Instead of flying into Heathrow, which, if you've ever been there before, it's a massive airport, absolutely huge, and can be at times bedlam. Instead of going there, he flew to Dublin, where there is an interesting relationship with U.S. Customs. So he's able to zip through customs getting into the country, and as a matter of fact, on the way out, coming home, he went through U.S. Customs over there, so that when he landed in the U.S., it was just like a domestic flight. Got off the plane, and away he went. Absolutely amazing. Tom continues with some history concerning Tough Mudder. He goes all the way back to 1987. There was a series of races held by the legendary OCR OG Billy Wilson, aka Mr. Mouse. This is pretty much the founder of what would ultimately become Tough Mudder, originally called Tough Guy. This was pretty hardcore. He's a former British military personnel, and he created a super hard race where most people, if not everybody, failed. And the causes were due to hypothermia, broken bones, and a few deaths. So it was really a serious, serious hardcore thing back in the day. And in its 27-year history, so writes Tom, 2 people died, and many were taken to the local hospital, which had EMS services on hand every year for the event. Wow. Okay. Later on in 2009, basically he sells to the founders of what would become the U.S. version of Tough Mudder. Okay. And in 2019, if you're not aware, Tough Mudder was then bought out by Spartan Race, who owns it currently. Tom also writes that between the two, Spartan and Tough Mudder, in the UK, Tough Mudder is the more popular brand. He's going to write more about that in a second, which we will get to. Tom writes of the venue that it is a sprawling 52,000 acre estate, basically, that they were on, with some of it dating back to 1612, and earlier portions of it, I guess, built upon what were Roman villas dating back to when the Romans had invaded Britain. A lot of history there. Amazing. Also looks pretty beautiful from what I've seen. He likens it to being very similar to the Shire in Lord of the Rings. Very, very cool. He said the race route was largely flat, very good, and there were some farm areas, some wooded areas, but it sounds like a beautiful, sprawling place to run. He mentions that parking was straightforward, which was great. You know, Damer, you'd be driving over there. It's opposite side of the car, opposite side of the street. I'd be taking an Uber. I couldn't imagine driving over there. But parking is good, very good to hear. And after you pass through registration and the merch tent, They congregated in one of the largest festival areas that he has ever seen. That is amazing. This man's been to so many races, you can take it to heart that if he says it's large, it's got to be super, super large and impressive. For the Spartans, such as myself, who are unhappy with the beer choices over here, several tents over there were selling local beer in addition to the 2 cans of local beer handed out at the finish line. Sign me up for this race. This sounds fantastic. I am already in. Okay, Tom's preference, though, and he was happy to learn that they handed out unlimited C4 energy drinks. So he was getting kind of hopped up on those, and he was ready to take a few cases and maybe take over the entire event. Good for you, Tom. Right on. On the Spartan race day, apparently there were half the participants for the Spartan Beast than for the Tough Mudder event. Again, Tough Mudder more popular. Of the course, Tom writes that there were a few different obstacles than here in the U.S. Music to my ears. I would like to see some changes here, some new stuff. He writes that there were several barbed wire crawls, which one was shared with the Tough Mudder event. Very cool, double duty. One of the crawls involved a large net that you had to crawl under, very Tough Mudder-ish. The slip wall apparently was in the middle of a chest-high pool filled with ice water. I love that. That is fantastic. Partially submerged. Really, really cool. There was also a balance beam, which he hasn't seen in the U.S. since Palmerton 2016. There were trenches, which were a series of tunnels with plywood over them, giving sort of like a World War I vibe. Very Tough Mudder-esque again. All right. There was no dunk wall, but rolling mud was very deep, making it tough and slippery. Cool. Most of the penalty loops had an additional difficulty, which included carrying some stuff, going under nets, having a log that you had to carry, 6-foot log overhead, on your shoulder, excuse me. And also cool, with the Herc hoist, if there was a problem, they would hand out chains that you had to carry. That is cool. We should be doing that here. All right. His favorite was the 6-foot long piece of wood that you had to carry over your shoulder for a quarter mile in one of the penalty loops. Really neat. He said both bucket and sandbag carries were long. No rocks in the buckets, but they were filled with sand. And he's going to do a comparison to see which is heavier, and he will update the OCR Kings Research and Development Division on his findings. Thank you, Tom. As far as the Tough Mudder course and experience, Tom writes that the Tough Mudder event day was a stark contrast to Spartan race day. The starting line MC was less of an announcer and more of a hype man. Very cool. We experienced that here in the U.S. with Tough Mudder as well. They had a warm-up of aerobic, sort of a group workout, and they provided inspirational coaching and a dance-off between costumed racers. Okay, sounds fun, bit cheeky. I could do without that, but I would be glad to watch, if not participate in that. All in all, it lasted about 15 minutes. Neat. Tough Mudder emphasizes that it is not a race but a challenge and encourages participants to help each other and overcome the obstacles ahead. Very, very cool. Camaraderie, fun. That's what Tough Mudder is about and should be about. Tom also had a chance to meet some OCR Kings subscribers. Cool. Big shout to Jev and Gaz, who he met at the Spartan Discord server. And they were gracious enough to give him a lift to the venue. Gaz is a well-known fixture in the Spartan community and has built a web-based application. Very cool. OCRBase.com. Provide a link to that in the description below. Check them out there. He's traveled to the U.S. for races. Very, very cool. And will be participated in the end-of-year Greece event. Excellent. Good luck and enjoy that event. Fantastic. Jev, a friend of Gaz, is a committed Tough Mudder participant with almost 100 Tough Mudder events under his belt. Amazing. Gonna get that like super duper headband, or is it a crown? I don't know. When you reach that level, you get some pretty cool gear from Tough Mudder, typically. In closing, Tom writes that he is always both surprised and comforted that OCR racers view the larger community of races in such a positive light. So it's true for both Gaz and Jev. They welcomed him into their world, and everyone Tom met in the UK was friendly and helpful, and they got him through the 2-day trip in the UK. Fantastic. When young people have a positive attitude out there, there's hope for us all. That is true. Tom, you are amazing. Thank you so much for writing this and sending it to us. We're glad that you had a great trip. We're glad you're back. We hope to see you soon out there on the course, my friend. Folks, if you haven't done so already, definitely check out Tom online. We'll provide links to his Instagram and this unabridged sit rep. Also, if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. It helps to grow the channel and is greatly appreciated. We hope to see all of you out there on the course. But until that time, remember, as always, train hard, have fun.